Okay, we are recording today, just as I mentioned. Today, we're really thrilled that you're joining us. It is Meet Chef Regina Mitchell, cooking for the holidays. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. And you're actually in Regina's kitchen. And I'm going to come over and say hi and introduce you. And then I'm going to let her take the show. But we wanted to say hello. We're so thrilled that you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is Chef Regina's kitchen. And she's going to be walking you through some great recipes today and also sharing some of the wonderful tools that she uses. And we have a PowerPoint that will cover a lot of these tools as well. And then she told me some new tools today, so more toys for the kitchen. So I'm really, really excited. But I'm going to go sit down and I'm going to ask her some questions, and then she's going to take it away and show you guys some cooking tips. So thank you again for joining, and I'm going to turn it to Chef Regina. And again, I'm going to ask her a couple questions.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So Regina, you joined us another time.
Yes.
And I still remember that wonderful cake that we got to enjoy.
Yes.
But there might be a few people today that are brand new that have never joined us before.
Yes.
So I just kind of wanted to talk about your journey, because you've had an incredible journey. So kind of talk about how you became a chef, and just a little bit about that story would be lovely to share.
Absolutely. And if you don't mind, I'm going to continue cutting my Brussels sprouts.
No, because you got a lot of cooking to be doing, girl.
I can't walk and talk and chew gum. Okay, so my name is Regina Mitchell. I wasn't always a chef, and nor was I always a blind chef. So I joined the culinary community several years ago when there was I guess you could say a tragedy that happened in our family. And oftentimes when something like that happens, I try to get distracted. And so when my husband asked me if there was anything in the world that you wanted to do, don't worry about money, don't worry about time, don't worry about him, what would you do? And I said that I would want to go to culinary school. And so a couple of months later, I was enrolled in culinary school. And that took quite a bit of time to finish. And a lot of people think you go to culinary school, it's just a cooking class. It's not a cooking class. It's difficult. It's grueling. And so I finished, but in the process of finishing, because of the my scholastic achievements, I was able to qualify for a British fellowship. And having doing so, I met the qualifications in the interview process and was able to do a British fellowship, which meant I first traveled to and lived in Scotland, and then went to London, Barcelona, France, Rome, and pretty much all over England, and came back home about 18 months later. I was away cooking under master chefs and working with amazing foods. And I came back and to Seattle, that's where I lived. And then again, worked in the culinary community in Seattle, met some amazing chefs, also worked with Julia Child, Emeril Lagasse, and a lot of the celebrity chefs that you see on TV today, because I also worked at the TV station in Seattle to prepare for celebrity chefs on the food channel there. And then we moved here, and MGM Grand connected with me and offered me a position to come here as a butler because of my work as a chef. They wanted someone that dealt with high profile guests. And so I came here to Las Vegas. And so I'm here. And then shortly after, I became ill, and not really knowing what the problem was. They did diagnose me first with lupus. And then I continued working and cooking. And then eventually my eyes, I wasn't able to see as well. And then I was diagnosed a year or so later with what is now, I have this bilateral panuveitis, and that is an active inflammatory system that is in my eyes constantly. So I don't have a peripheral vision. I don't see faces nor depth perception. My central field is really extremely blurred out. I do have some residual vision. A lot of the cooking that I do is a lot from muscle memory and also just really concentrating on what I do. That's where I am right now. And because I couldn't work, I eventually went to school to here at UNLV and graduated and with a bachelor's in psychology as well as neuroscience. And then I hooked up with my community and got in contact with the Blind Connect. And they were the ones that provided me with the mobility training that I needed, and also blindness skills to work in the kitchen. Because for many years, I didn't come back in the kitchen. I was fearful of going in the kitchen. And even with the skills and the techniques that I have, I was still apprehensive. So they gave me those skills, and eventually I came back into the kitchen. And so here you see me today, back in the kitchen. And so welcome to my kitchen, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. So I know you're going to talk about several tools that you use in the kitchen. I'm just going to come over here for just a second because Regina started using a product called the Tab, which is our product. I'm going to turn it just for a second so you guys can see it on the camera. So you guys, Regina is amazing. I mean, she's not going to brag about herself, but I'm going to brag about her. She took lemons and turned them into lemonade. And then what does she do? Not just come back out in the kitchen, not just cook marvelous food for her family, but she goes out to the community and she starts finding out people that have low vision or that are blind, a lot of times have been told, oh, they can't come in the kitchen, or you can't have scissors or a knife, or it's dangerous, or this or that. And so they really just are kind of feeling like they can't do that. Well, she empowers people to do that. In fact, that's her passion. She works with people that have limited vision or no vision. And when she's doing that, she has the ability to not only empower them, but to give them an opportunity in life to do things maybe they couldn't do before. So she's using this tool here. We are talking this morning a little bit more about some of the cooking classes that she's going to be offering, so she can make the text larger, got to get in front of it, or smaller. She also has the ability to do OCR and have it come and actually read to her. So when she's working with her clients that have limited to no vision, she has the ability to have it read the recipe to them.
Laced with honey, BL cranberries, this butt.
She has the ability to change how it looks. You can see the whole thing on the screen. Of course, she can change the colors as well, because people that have limited vision, of course, have different color contrasts that are important to them. So this is just a tool that she uses in the kitchen, and she has many other tools she's going to be showing you throughout today. And then, of course, we have links and everything about this. So this just sits over in the corner, but you couldn't see it before. So that's why I wanted to move it in just so you could see it for a minute. Again, this is called a Tab. She can go out, she can browse the web. She has the ability to use anything because it's a Surface Pro Windows 10 computer system. She's got it over in the corner. She moves it around. She looks at her recipe. And again, if she needs to listen to something, maybe it's long instructions, she has the ability to do that. All right. So she's got many other tools and yummy things. So I'm going to switch to the PowerPoint for just a minute, and I'm going to talk about what she's making today because it is amazing. So today she's going to be talking about cranberries, going beyond the can. So you will be able to get a recipe. So she's going to be making three major things today: cranberry orange butter. It sounds delicious. Cranberry chutney with apples and warm ginger, and Brussels sprouts with crispy bacon and shallots tossed in cranberry orange butter. And I got to pick a couple of these recipes. You guys, we have them. I did not include them in this PowerPoint because I wanted to make them separate so you can have them large and you can have them whatever size that you want them to be. So I'm going to go back now and stop sharing the screen, and we'll come back to tools later. And you're live again.
Okay. Like Kim said, our menu, I want to do a holiday celebration and also give you some tips, some safety tips, as well as some amazing tools to use in the kitchen. And some of the tools that keep me safe in the kitchen. And I won't do them separately. I'm going to share them with you as I'm cooking. Then that way you're able to see how I manage myself in the kitchen. But first of all, I want to always provide yourself with a safe working space, which means a cutting board. Even if you're not cutting something, get a cutting board or a flat board, something that's going to keep you safe and centered. A lot of times we're running around the kitchen because we're not grounded. So get a safe cutting board. You can use wood, which is really amazing. People think that it collects bacteria, but it doesn't. You just keep it cleaned all the time. And if it starts to get rough like mine, I just normally sand it down and then resurface it. That's great. Put it back. If you have a plastic one, make sure you keep it washed in hot water and keep it sanitized. Also, another way to keep yourself from getting cut in the kitchen, if you're using knives, is to keep your cutting board secure, which means having something underneath it. Just as simple as this is just a silicone mat that you get like this for shelving. And I just cut a piece off and put it underneath my cutting board. So it's silicone, it has like a honeycomb shape, and I just cut it and put it underneath my mat. If you don't have that, that's no worries. You just get a couple of paper towels, dampen them just slightly, fold them and put them underneath your cutting board. And that way it keeps it secure. Also, if you're using a knife, like I use a lot of the time, if you're using a knife, if you feel comfortable using a knife, this is an 8-inch chef knife that I use. And you keep your knife at the top of your cutting board, underneath your cutting board, away from you, as well as on the side. So just secure your knives and your cutting board. Okay, so that's just like a basic thing that you should be doing all the time. So I'm going to right now make the butter. So I'm going to do a cranberry honey butter. And then we're going to take that same butter and I'm going to use it at the very end for some Brussels sprouts. And so I have some Brussels sprouts that we're going to toss in with that butter. I'm going to actually pan roast them by, first of all, putting them on a cool pan, turning the oven, the heating element up to medium high, and then drizzling just a little bit of oil. If you're oil free, don't worry about it. You can use vegetable stock or just water and cover it and let it simmer, and then lift it. And then it's going to actually kind of fry a little bit. And then we're going to season it all up. And then I have a little glaze of just a little honey and some honey mustard, and pour that on top of the Brussels sprouts, and then toss that in with some warm honey butter. Okay.
Delicious.
Yes. And then on the back of me, I'm going to do just a really quick cranberry chutney. I grew up in not really liking the wiggly jiggly kind, but that's okay. If you love it, go for it. But if you want to amp it up a little bit, I'm just going to get some cranberries and put some apples in it and a little bit of orange zest, some maple syrup and honey, and put it back there, and just some apples and with a little apple cider, and just let it sit. And all it takes about 15-20 minutes for the cranberries to start popping. And once they pop and burst, then they start to get a little soft, as well as the apples. And then if you want, you can just kind of mash them with a little, like a potato masher, and get it to the consistency that you want. You can use the cranberry chutney on so many things. You can add it into cream cheese. You can smear it on a cracker. You can put it on toast. You can put it with chicken. You can do so much with this cranberry chutney, as well as the butter. The butter is priceless. That can go on scones. That can go on pancakes or waffles. It goes on so many. So what we're going to be doing today is very versatile. It's not just a one-stop shop. You can do a lot with the ingredients that we're going to do today. Okay, so I'm going to do the butter right now. And so what I have on my trays, this is what I call my mise en place tray. Mise en place just means that it means everything in its place. And you want to have everything in its place. If you don't have trays like this, you can just use a baking tray. I got these from the store. It was actually in the children's department, sort of like an arts craft tray. And so I got a couple of those. So on my tray, and mise en place, not only does it mean to have your ingredients ready, but I always learned over years, mise en place also means to be ready mentally and physically when you're cooking. A lot of people don't cook because they say it takes a lot of time, or they may get burned, or they may get cut, or the cleanup. But when you, just like anything else, when you get your mind ready, mise en place, when you get your mind ready, your ingredients ready, and you have everything at hand, then it won't be so stressful. Okay, so we want to demystify this stress of the holidays. Meaning you can just bring everything in, center yourself. I take a lot of deep breaths in the kitchen. So everything is about wholeness and wellness, even when you're cooking. So just take a lot of deep breaths. And if you get too tired, then just step back from it. Make sure you don't have anything on the oven or on the stove, but just take a break sometimes. Okay, so with the butter, I have some room temperature butter. And the best way to bring butter to room temperature is just to sit it out on the counter. And you want to cut it into some chunks so that it easily comes to room temperature. And you cannot bring butter to room temperature by putting it in the microwave and hitting it on 50%, because you're going to get some hot spots and it's going to melt. So the best way to do it is to keep it on the counter, on a plate, for about a half hour to an hour. And that's what I did here. So here I'm just going to add this butter to a small bowl, because I don't have a lot of products in here. So I just need just a little bit of butter. Just a small bowl. Also, room temperature butter will still be cool to the touch. And will almost be the same temperature as your body temperature, but it will be just a little slight cooler to the touch. Okay, and then I'm going to add some ginger. I grated some ginger on my microplane here. This is a microplane, or you can use a box grater. When you're using a box grater, I have a glove when I use my box grater. Even though I do have some residual vision, it still is not going to help me to often maybe get cut. So I have this glove here, and this is a cut resistant glove. You can get it any color or size. This happens to be a medium, and this is pink, I believe it's pink. And you put it on, and you can take your product with the box grater and grate your product, and you won't get your knuckles cut or scraped, or your fingernails. Okay, it's nothing worse than having a cut and you're trying to cook in the kitchen. So I use this cut resistant glove. But I also, so with my ginger as well as my cranberries, not my cranberries, but my orange, I'm going to use a microplane. And a microplane is a slender tool. It has a nice grip at the end, and the little blades go upwards, okay? And I like using a microplane because it's handy. It can go right up over my bowl when I'm grating something. That way I keep the essence, meaning the perfumes and the oils. Anytime you're using a microplane, and I always put it on top of my bowl. And then that way, when I'm grating something like orange, an orange has what we call essence. And when you're grating it, you can feel the mists of the oils, and it has an essence. So we want to keep all that inside. So I'm just going to grate just a little bit over my butter. And I'm just grating. And the orange is really perfuming, and you want all those oils into your butter. And so that's what I'm doing. And it's just a teaspoon. The way I'm filling this, because I really can't see this, is by filling first the orange itself, the way it feels naturally. And then as you grate it, you go along and you turn it. And you don't want to go too deep because you're going to hit what we call a pith, P-I-T-H. And it's more of a bitter part of the orange. And so I'm just going to use just a little bit here. And I got quite a bit. It's about a teaspoon. I can kind of eye a teaspoon. And I'm just banging it to release the zest. Okay, that's what I'm doing here. And that's that. And next I have some ginger, a little bit of ginger here. It's the same concept that I used with the orange. I grated it ahead of time. And I'm just going to add a little bit to that as well. And also on my tray, I have, this is some maple syrup. I put a little bit of maple syrup in there. And you can make savory compound butters too. I love making savory compound butters. Like you can use gorgonzola and sage. You can use port wine and sage. You can use like a garlic butter. Rather than buying your own butter, you can make your own garlic butter by either roasting some garlic or just raw garlic and mixing it together. So this is going to come together really simple. I have the butter and a little bit of maple syrup and some orange zest and ginger. And I'm going to cut up some cranberries and put that in. All right. And mix that in. And let that sit for a second. I'm going to move on to the next. So a compound butter is really, really simple. There's no reason you guys shouldn't be making your own compound butters. It requires no heat, so you don't have an excuse. It requires no cutting, so you have no excuse. Okay? It's just butter and whatever herb or a dried herb that you have. Okay? You can even do like a little cinnamon and nutmeg and allspice for a nice brunch butter. The butters that we buy in the store, that's the honey butter, you don't have to buy that. You can make your own. Okay? And see how simple that came together. Okay. And now I'm going to add just a few of these these cranberries. And then I'm going to move on to the next. So are there any questions?
So you guys, I'm monitoring the questions. One thing I noticed, Regina, is I thought it was really neat to watch you because I saw you in the beginning and you got your ingredients out and got them ready, but you couldn't just look over and see what is that. And what did you do? You lifted it up and smelled it. And you said, oh, this is, honey, this is this. And using all your senses when you're cooking, which is nice anyways, because I know when I go in a restaurant and it smells good, that's the restaurant I want to go into, not the one that doesn't. So I just wanted to draw that to everyone's attention because I thought that was really neat. And then did you already talk about your guards? Because I always get really excited about those.
I'm going to do that right now because I'm going to now transfer into my my back pot here, which is the chutney. Okay, so with the chutney, we have the cranberries, and I'm just going to put those in a pot. So we have cranberries, and then also we're going to have some, let's see, this is the apple cider vinegar, and we have some brown sugar, and again, some orange zest. And the reason why I'm calling these out to you now so that you can make a mental note. And I have my spices. So in your recipe, it calls for cloves and cinnamon. I whipped up over the Thanksgiving a gingerbread spice, and I'm going to use that. And I will give you, Kimberly, the recipe for the gingerbread spice.
Okay, I will include that when we send everything out.
And then,
thank you.
Yeah, that's nice for the holidays. And so I have that in my orange and a little bit of jalapeno. And the jalapeno is optional. You don't have to have a jalapeno, okay? So right back here, I'm stepping behind me, and I'm gonna bring my pot close to me. I have a pretty large pan that I'm gonna be working on for more surface. So you can use a saucepan, or you can use a Dutch oven, or you can use, I don't know if you can use a crock pot, but you can. I'm gonna check, I'll let you know.
Okay.
So I'm gonna turn this on low, medium, and add my cranberries and add all this other stuff. And I'm just gonna add that to it. So I just added my apple cider vinegar and some jalapenos. So everything just goes in. And a few spices, and I think it's a teaspoon each. And I have some great tools here. My teaspoons are a large print, and they are inverted. So I have white teaspoons with large print a blue tab with white writing on it. And so you can also get some like this, or you can get the berries. Stan is my husband. He's going to be assisting me. Actually, you can pour all of them. Just take out this. Pour the rest. It's a big bag. Oh, okay. Okay. And we're just going to add the berries.
And you guys, I wanted you to know, like, this is real. You know, it's live. And what happened this morning? We needed cranberries. Her husband ran to the store. It's a popular time of year. Could not find cranberries. So doesn't that feel just like you're in your own kitchen cooking? This is like so how it is that day. And you just need to run out and find that one thing. And of course, they don't have it because everybody's getting it. So.
Okay. And so I just added everything except for the cranberries that's coming in next. And I also want to show you this little gadget that I use for my brown sugar. This is a little terracotta clay tile that you can get Amazon, and it you put it inside of your, well, first of all, when you get it, you have to soak it in some hot water for like 15 minutes. Then take it out and let it dry, and it's ready to go. And then you just put it into your Ziploc bag with your brown sugar, and you're gonna always, always, always have fresh, brick-free brown sugar. Okay, so that's a little terracotta clay tile. I'm gonna put that into my cranberries as well. And now I'm gonna slice up an apple. This is the last thing I have to do as far as slicing up anything. And so I have this little gadget as well. I found it. And you know, mind you, all of these tools I've had to find on my own, cooking and teaching to help me in the kitchen as I help others in the kitchen. So I came across this little tool because I was sort of getting a little nicks on my hands. Not as much cuts, but nicks. And those can be just as worse. So this is a finger guard. And what I do is I put this on my finger and on any of my fingers. So I can put it on the middle, the ring, whichever one. And this helps me to guide my way along the product, as well as keeping my knife away from my fingers. So as you can hear, this is clicking against the steel of the finger guard. And so I take my product and I hold it, and that way, and I'm holding it steady. I use what's called a claw method, meaning you're going to take the 3 fingers, hold down the product, your pinky and your thumb is actually holding it secure. So pinky, thumb, holding it secure, while the other three are resting on the product, okay? And so I'm just going to, there's a core in the center of the apple. And knowing that, I'm just going to cut it in a quarter so that I have that core by itself. And I'll say that for later because, you know, the chefs always get the little niblets. Okay, so I'm just coring that off. All right, and away.
Brown sugar.
Yes, brown sugar. Okay. And now I have a couple of pieces here, and I still have on my finger guard. And anytime you cut something, to cut it again, you want to put the cut side down. That way it's sturdy and it won't move. Okay, so I'm turning these all on the cut side down, and I'm just going to cut them in half. And I'm using my knife guard to secure my hand so that I don't get cut. And you can hear it coming against it. All right, now I'm just going to chop them. And you can hear just a little bit of the stainless steel. And that way, I am not cutting myself. I have fear. Well, you should have a little bit of fear in the kitchen, but not enough to overwhelm you. I should say brave.
Cautious, yeah. You're to speak to be cautious,
yes, be cautious, and that way you can go in and meet that new brave. That's what we want to do. We want to make the kitchen our friend again. Okay, I'm almost done with this apple. I just wanted to share that with you. I didn't want to do this ahead of time because I wanted to show you. And now what I'm doing is called a rocking motion, which means that I'm not really taking the tip of my knife off of the cutting board. And I can show you that when I do something else a little later. So I want to get the chutney on. The chutney only takes like 20 minutes to simmer. And for the cranberries to burst. All right. We want that medium.
Medium high.
Medium, just medium. Okay, now with my knife, I'm just going to take it through. I don't need my finger guard anymore. And I'm just taking my palm of my hand and putting it on the back side of the knife, the very tip of, not the tip of the blade, but the other side. And I'm applying pressure to chop through because I don't want big chunks in there. Just enough to know that there are some nice apples in there. And that's it. Okay. Yes, grab the, you can grab the, thank you. This is my husband, Stan. He helps me in the kitchen with my classes. So thank you for welcoming him.
Yeah, it's so nice to have families cooking together. We all need more of that. I love cooking with my husband as well. So,
and I'm just squeezing just a little bit of lemon juice on top of the apples to keep the deoxidation.
You know, that was interesting how you did that, and you didn't just put it directly, you put it through your fingers so it dribbled all throughout.
Yes,
that was really a neat technique.
Okay, thank you. I do a lot of things by habit. Okay, so Kim caught that. Thank you. So what I did with the lemon is I held my hand underneath the lemon, and when I'm squeezing it, that way it keeps the seeds in my hand rather than me pulling out another tool and reaming it and all that. Just use your hands. These are the best tools that you have. And I always have a towel next to me, my cutting board, so that I can wipe my hands, and then I can also wipe off my board. So you always want to keep a clean work area. Okay, so I have the berries in there, and now I'm going to lift up the apples and place the apples right in the center. And if you're having a problem of finding the center of where your pan is, you can use a spoon as an anchor, and just place the spoon, find the center of your pan, and use that as an anchor. So meaning you can take your spoon, find the center, then hold your spoon off of the pan. Take your hand, whatever you're using to carry the product over, place it on top of your anchor, and then slide it in. That way you're finding where the center of your pan is, and you're not going to have any of your products on your stove or on the floor.
It's a great, great tip.
Because I have to use that quite often when I'm cooking to find even pancakes. Oh gosh.
Right.
Pancakes. I'm going into my cabinet now. I'm just pulling out a plate to rest my spoon on.
So just a time, I'd say about 12 minutes because I want to have a closing to be able to, okay. So you know.
Yep. Okay, I'm done with that. So now everything is in for the chutney. And I'm just going to put on the broccoli.
The Brussels. Yummy.
Okay.
I love Brussels sprouts.
Okay, so the Brussels sprouts, I'm just going to lay them on a whole pan, face down. So what I did is I cut them all, and I took off the undesirable leaves. Okay. And then I cut them in half. And I'm just placing them cut side down. And that way they're going to get nice and crispy. All right. And then I'm going to turn it on a low medium. And let them do a spin. All right. And then next, we're just going to stand this even up the bacon. And we're going to have this ready. Sorry you guys can't join us. It's really delicious.
But you know what? If you make this meal or any of these things and send me an email, I will send you a surprise. So I'll get you the recipes. All you've got to do is say, I enjoyed this, made it with, you know, your family or friends, and send me an email and a surprise will come to you. I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Wow, nice.
So make sure that you do that, and I'll have my email contact information at the end.
All right. So, okay, this is it. They're all nice and snuggled in there. That's it. All right.
Excellent.
Okay. Take some questions or.
All right. So yeah, let's see if there's any questions, and I'm going to quickly go and share my screen as well, because I want to go and show you some of the actual tools that she used. So again, this is the recipes, and we'll have them in great detail. These are some pictures of the dishes. And here's some of the tools that she showed you. And we have some websites where you can get those too. So you've got, there's different types of measuring spoons. Of course, you can get them in multicolor, or as the ones she exactly had, which were the white with the blue, and then the white lettering on it. And then her special oven mitts. I'm not sure if she showed those yet, but she will. So we'll talk. I've got these on here, and then the guards for the racks in the oven. And then here's just a little bit of a list. I've got links for the finger guard, the oven rack shields, and the double oven mitts. And then there's some other things she uses in the kitchen as well. The cut resistant gloves, the measuring spoons and cups we already talked about, the Braille or large print timer, the talking kitchen scale. She also likes the talking and digital thermometers. Yes. And then the silicone shelf liner are underneath the cutting board that she has so it doesn't slip. So there's various choices, as she said. And if you're having problems finding any of them, send me an email and I can reach out to Regina. We're very lucky. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. I did not introduce myself. I apologize. I'm Kimberly Klein. I live in Las Vegas. I'm the director of sales for LBI America. And we love to be able to present people that have limited or low vision, or who are legally blind, and they're just doing amazing things like Regina. So we have a series called Living with Low Vision, And we try to feature these at least every couple months. Sometimes we have so many talented folks that people bring to me, we can do them monthly. So if you have someone you'd like to feature, please let me know. And then these are some pictures of Regina in the kitchen, and I'll go out and answer or look for questions in a minute. And then the next picture is of the tab that we showed you in the beginning. This is our product, the MagniLink Surface Pro tablet. You can get it as an i5 or an i7. We're showing it here very similar how Regina has it in the kitchen with the camera around the front. And it's an all-in-one unit. It's a computer and it does text to speech, and it's also a video magnifier. Very portable and lightweight. We have separate webinars just on this product. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that today, but the whole thing altogether is less than £9. You can save recipes, you can magnify ingredient lists, and you can read cooking instructions. And she was looking at her ingredients a little bit ago on that. And then you probably saw she also has the large print keyboard, the black with the yellow. So we also, those are just products that we offer, the 2 different color contrasts. I am going to stop sharing. And are there any questions for Regina that I can answer? So yes, it is being recorded. Someone asked me they wanted to share it with their students, and yes, it will be recorded. And we have another cooking class up there that Regina did probably about 6 months ago, and she made a luscious lemon cake, and it was just delicious. So any other questions on tools she's using, or maybe you want to ask her if she's tried certain types of recipes or products or different types of like Mediterranean food or different things like that. So someone's asking, what is one of the hardest things that has happened for you in the kitchen since you came back in with your vision change?
I'm going to say not locating, but being able to identify newer products that come out, like the trends that comes out. I have to keep my mind open to actually hearing what's happening rather than seeing what's happening. What I mean by going into the grocery store and being able to see all the new products, like, oh, wow, I can try this one, or I can try that. But now I have to keep a mindful eye on what's happening in the trends by keeping in contact with my colleagues on what's the new trends, by keeping abreast on online trends and even some TikTok trends. But then not being able to see those things because, you know, when you're watching the videos, it's really hard to discern what's happening. I would say that's probably the biggest challenge. Not so much as maybe like burning myself or cutting myself, but actually being able to use the visual and now turning it into non-visual cues. I think that for me is still like a bit of a challenge. Also having to take in information by listening rather than by seeing. So, you know, transitioning, I'm still transitioning in that process.
Absolutely. And that kind of leads me into another question that usually gets asked, and that's, what advice do you have, Regina, for people who are struggling due to their vision loss?
Well, first of all, you just have to be patient with yourself. You can't be hard on yourself. You can't feel like, you know, the world is just something bad that happened. Yes, but you can't try not to be bitter about it. And again, allow yourself time to adjust. Engage and be around people that are positive, people that are going to take you to other levels, the next level. I read this amazing book called Balcony People years ago. It's a tiny book. And it talked about basement people and balcony people, how basement people will pull you down. And you don't want those kind of people. You want balcony people, people that will raise you up. And so that's what I have surrounded myself with are balcony people, people that are just going to continue inspiring me and not make me think that I am this oddity or pamper me or make me sit in a corner somewhere because they feel like I can't see anything. But people that's going to say, no, girl, get up. And so that's what you need to surround yourself with. And there's so many resources that is available for us now. Technology, please, with all this within you, learn all the different technologies, the different apps that's on your phone. Get back into the kitchen by doing small things. You don't have to worry about the oven or the stove. Do your compound butters, do some amazing pestos, salads, sandwiches. But whatever you do, get in the kitchen and create some amazing foods for yourself and for your family to enjoy.
Wow, that's very powerful. So do you offer cooking classes via Zoom? If somebody contacted you and said, you know, my husband, it's a special thing for him. He just got a promotion at work. Gosh, I really want to make him XYZ, but I'm scared. I can't do it. You know, do you do some private lessons and things like that?
Absolutely. All you have to do is email me at friendinthekitchen. Right, Heather?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And we'll have it at the end too.
At Gmail.
Yes. friendinthekitchen@gmail.com. And just, hey, Regina, I came to the LBI webinar and I would like to have a private class. I do them quite often. As a matter of fact, I have one on the 18th, one on the 17th, and I'm doing a full class tonight at 4:30. It's just open. You want to come? I'll send you the link. Tonight we're doing, again, cranberries, but we're going to do a cranberry bread pudding. So yes, I do. Just all you have to do is email me and it will be on virtual and I'll walk you through it. I get the ingredients, you get the ingredients just like here and we cook together. So we can talk, it's live, we can talk, you and your husband or kids. I love doing cooking class with kids. I do a cooking class with the Wisconsin parents of blind children. And I have 18 families.
Oh my gosh.
That's all on my Zoom. And we can see all the kids are cooking. And the kids are cooking and their parents are the sous chefs. And so we get to see what they do. At the end, they hold it all up and then they eat. So you just let me know what you would like and we can tailor make the menu for you.
Excellent. So then when you do like the cooking class tonight, you would send the recipe or ingredient list in advance so they could get what they need?
Yes.
Okay. So it sounds like you guys are right there in the kitchen cooking. So she's, you know, when she's grading something, you'd be doing that at home. It's kind of just like I do when I do a Zoom training on any of our products. I ask you to have the products out, be ready to go, and you can just follow along. So I'm going to put up contact information because we're going to come back in a minute and we're going to show you this delicious food.
I'm just adding a little oil to the Brussels sprouts and I'm just tossing them.
Yum. They look good.
Oh, okay. Thank you, honey.
So Regina's number is here, or her email address is here. So we're not closing off yet, but I just wanted to have this slide up. If you need any questions for me, you can call me or text me on my cell phone, 702-468-6611. My email is Kimberly, KIMBERLY.Klein, CLINE @LBIAmerica.com. You can also reach out to Regina Mitchell at friend, as she said, FRIEND, in the kitchen @gmail.com. And if you're having a hard time getting a hold of either one of us, Catherine Gettle is also here to help you. Catherine and I work together at LBI America, and it's 802-236-4404. Catherine, CATHERINE.Gettle @LBIAmerica.com. Now I'm going to come back just a minute while she's finishing up over there. We do have another webinar coming up in December. It's called Living with Low Vision at the North Pole. And Santa himself will be joining us. And he will be actually utilizing our Zip product, which is our foldable video magnifier. He'll be looking at his naughty and nice list. So you want to make sure you're on the nice list. And then in January 18th, we have a brand new product that we're just releasing here in the States. It's called ML Air, and it's a product that you can actually have up in the ceiling. We have an Uno and a Duo. It allows you to have a motorized camera that you could move around. So Regina, if she was teaching a cooking class here in her kitchen, the camera could be up and a whole bunch of people could be looking at something all at one time. So it's assistive technology, kind of like in the Jetson times or the future. So the Uno and Duo and the distance, and that webinar will be coming directly from Sweden. But if any of you are going to ATIA or CSUN, which are two assistive technology conferences, we will have that product there, all of our products, but that product, we're premiering it. And ATIA is in Florida and CSUN is in Southern California.
Here, Kim,
oh, perfect. To register for any of the webinars, it's www.lbiamerica.com/webinar. We don't have the January one up yet, but Catherine will be getting that up soon. So I'm going to stop sharing so we can be live. And we're back in the kitchen. And she's getting ready to kind of get everything together to finalize it so you can see what everything looks like. And then again, we will have these recipes for you.
All right. So we have everything. All right. So Kimberly.
Yes.
I'm going to have you.
Well, I'm going to come around here.
Oh, no, yes. This little bit of the chutney. This little bit. Okay. So I made a little bit of cornbread. So and I put the butter.
Yummy.
And we're just going to have a little bit of the chutney. I need to taste that before I let you taste it.
All right.
That's the thing, you know, you have to taste something before you give it to your guests. So I'm going to taste. I'm going to taste.
Oh my. It looks really good.
Okay, let me get you a little spoon.
Okay.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm sorry, folks, but you can see it. It's delicious, but I'm going to go sit down and eat. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to put a little Brussels sprouts on her plate. And so this is something I want to show you guys really quick. These are some little measuring spoons. And this tiny, tiny one is actually 1/16 of a measurement. And this is actually called, a drop. So if you ever want a drop of something, I don't know when you will use that. And this is a dash. So you can get these spoons. These are perfect, meaning perfect. They just took a spin off of it. These are spoons. I think you can order them from MagniLink. Also, this is the talking thermometer that we're talking about here. This is invaluable. Say, for instance, like the bread pudding that I'm doing today. We don't know when bread pudding is ready, or say casseroles. Normally a bread pudding or a casserole or a stuffing is generally 160 to 165. But how do you know that? Well, you can use your handy dandy talking thermometer. So this is a talking thermometer, and it will. So you can just put this into this. There's a probe. You put this into your product, and you have your talking thermometer. There's also talking alarms. There's then you get your Braille and your large print measuring cups and spoons. So I would say go to any of these websites, MagniLink, the Three Blind Mice, and go through and look under like kitchen or cooking, and you have just a plethora of cooking tools for yourself. So just go out and browse and find some things that's good for yourself.
So you mentioned something, just get in the kitchen. You don't even have to turn on the oven. What's this very simple, like let's say they're inspired and they want to go now and they've got some basic things in the home and they're going to make something. What would you suggest?
Okay, so let's just say you have, let's just say you have, here you go, peanut butter and jelly.
Perfect, okay.
Okay, peanut butter and jelly. Oh no, that's gonna require it. I was gonna say you can do a kicked up peanut butter and jelly by grilling it. If you have like a little George Foreman grill.
Ooh, I want to hear about it.
You just you can put just a little bit of butter on your bread. You don't even need it, and take your little George Foreman grill, or just like a little saute pan on low, very low, and you put your butter, your peanut butter, and your jam, and put it into the George Foreman grill, and just press it down, and you'll have a beautiful grilled peanut butter and jelly salad.
Wow.
Yes, kids love that, and adults love that. Salads, you can do a vinaigrette. Okay, everyone can do a vinaigrette. Oil, you only need 3 things for a vinaigrette: oil, acid, and flavoring. Okay, so oil, you can use just a regular canola oil, olive oil, avocado oil, grapeseed oil, any kind of oil you have. That's your fat. The second thing you're going to need is your flavoring. So flavoring, you can use salt, pepper, you can use a little bit of any seasoning that's in your drawer. Okay, and then you're just going to need a vinegar, any kind of acid. So a vinegar, or you can use orange.
Oh, wonderful.
You can use a little bit of orange. You can use lemon, grapefruit, balsamic vinegar. Those are all acids. Okay, so you have your fat, you have your acid, and you have your seasoning. That's all you need. A little bit, say if you want to do equal portions, you can do 3 tablespoons of orange juice, 3 tablespoons of a fat, and that's it. And shake it up in a jar, like a little jar, and shake it up. Or you can use a whisk. And if you want to go even a step further, you take an emulsion, which will thicken it. And we even have emulsions right here. We don't even know it, right? These are emulsions. Emulsion is mustard and honey. And these will thicken your vinaigrettes. So you can put like a little teaspoon of mustard and a little teaspoon of honey. And that will thicken it. And you'll have an amazing vinaigrette all by yourself. You don't have to go to the store for it. It's right there in your cabinet. And you can make your own vinaigrette.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm going to open it up for questions one more time, and we're going to put the closing slide. And thank you guys for coming. Wish you could be here to join us. It's delicious, and I get to eat more. But make either one of these recipes or one of the new inspired recipes that Regina talked about today. Send me an email, and we have a prize for you. So make sure that you do that. I'm going to share the screen one more time. Thank you so much, Regina and Stan.
It's our pleasure. Honey, it's our pleasure.
It's our pleasure.
Okay, so we're going to have a closing here. Let me go out. Again, Regina Mitchell is friendinthekitchen@gmail.com. And you can reach me at kimberly.klein@lbiamerica.com or 702-468-6611. Thank you so much. Have a great day. If you have any questions, reach out. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right. Bye-bye.